is ready. Hello, everyone. I can see that people are starting to join. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello. There's a few familiar names there already from the previous seminar. I'm going to give everyone 30 seconds or so you can join. Find a virtual seat. More and more people joining. So, okay, time to start then. Let me just get my presentation up, and there you go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another startup seminar. I'm your host, Rui, and you remember me from last week. And you will also remember that we are City Ventures, the driving force for entrepreneurship at City University. We are back with new events, competitions, and programs. You will remember that we are a team made of City Ventures, Launch Lab, and Better Space, and together we drive entrepreneurship at City. So every Wednesday, as you know, we have the startup seminars. Come and learn from legends themselves. You know that next week we will be welcoming Rushina Shah, the founder and CEO at Insane Grain, and she will be telling us more about building an awesome brand. If you want to join, again, point your phone to the QR code and be sure to register for the series. I should also mention that the seminar from last week has been uploaded, is now available on YouTube, and from the same page, you should be able to replay it or play it in case you missed it. Tonight, we will be welcoming Druven Patel. He's already waiting for us, but more about him in a second. But as you know, he's the founder of OkShield. He's actually a City alumni, which is very exciting for us at City Ventures. And he will be telling us more about connecting with potential customers. In March, we'll see the return of the City Spark workshops. And if you are a student or a recent graduate, and if you're looking to start and develop your business idea, we will give you and your startup a workout. So we will give you in workshops with a small group of students and recent graduates, we will walk you through ideation all the way down to how to take this business to market and hopefully help you with one of our competitions. Again, if you're interested, point to the QR code and be sure to join us for the City Spark workshops. The City Spark Grand Final, or everything will lead to the City Spark Grand Final. The competition is now open. So if you are a City student or a recent graduate, you can join the City's biggest competition. We have a 25,000 prize pots, 25,000 pounds prize pots to give away. That's 5 awards of 5,000 pounds each. And you can know or learn more about this competition at city-spark.co.uk. Again, either point to the QR code or visit the website below. In order to help you with this and much more, we would advise you to book an advice session with myself or a member of the team, so we can help you to bring your idea to life. We offer one-to-one support on a weekly basis, and there's always slots by myself and some of my other colleagues. And again, point to the QR code should you want to receive some further assistance with your startup ideas. You can find more this and a lot more on cityventures.co.uk, or you can email us at cityventures@city.ac.uk. It goes without saying, like the previous seminar, use the Q&A button to ask questions. Do take notes, do engage and participate, because some of our speakers are really helpful and willing to answer some of the burning questions that you have in terms of building or starting a business. This is always the best way to learn, I think. Now, put your virtual hands together, and it's time to welcome to the virtual stage, Druven Patel. So Druven, are you there?
Hey, Rui.
He is indeed. Druven, good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm very well, very well. I was just going to say, you need to update that picture because I've shaved my hair off since then. So people might be like, is this really Druven? Is it not? Or does he have a twin?
Well, I guess that you can tell how emotional a life of an entrepreneur is, and say even you can even experience hair loss as a positive, I guess, as part of the process. Druven, thank
Yeah.
you so much for tuning in and to come and join us and share your amazing story. I have a bit of a bio, Druven, so I'll promise not to embarrass you. Druven Patel, optometrist and founder at OcuShield. OcuShield started as a simple idea following a dissertation project. This is back in 2014. So Druven has come a long way. And Druven was actually exploring how harmful the effects of blue light is into human eyes. So the dissertation eventually led to a research project, which led to OcuShield's a fully fledged business. Since then, Druven has graduated as an optometrist here at City, funny enough, and according to the latest stats, he has won over 150,000 customers. So if you multiply that by 2, that's 300,000 healthier, happier, better sleeping eyes. Am I right, Druven? As the stats have been updated recently?
That's correct. It might be a little bit more now, but yeah, on the right lines.
One curious fact about Druven is that recently he made to Dragon's Den. So those of you that tune into Dragon's Den on BBC, Druven was there, and alongside with one of his colleagues, managed to secure offers from both Peter Jones and Tej Lalvani. So Druven, I don't want us to jump to Dragon's Den immediately. So my first question would be more about, tell us the thing that you used to excite you when you were younger. So when you were maybe at the start of your university journey or even before, what were the things that would really make you feel excited?
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger and when I was at university, I think things that made me excited was new experiences, creation. Those were things that I loved doing, and especially when you're around universities, getting involved with every form of society or whatever else you can get involved with. And fortunately, I got involved with City Spark and City Ventures through that, which obviously supported my journey, which is how I effectively started my business. Right, I had an idea, and at the same time I had the idea, I saw a poster of City Spark, and that's where everything began. So actually, yeah, that's what I was excited about, is new experiences and creating things.
Okay. So it does feel that you are preaching from the back of some of your own experiences, drawing that creation, even the dissertation itself, and applying through City Spark, actually going from an idea to actually going to a business, and to see you actually going to the TV and all of a sudden presenting in front of the dragons is quite, it must feel quite empowering, and to be a journeyman of success, of course. A question that I normally ask to all the entrepreneurs that I can speak to is, what kind of entrepreneur do you think you are? Are you a thinker, a maker, a fixer, a combination of the three, none of the above, and you have a completely different title? Which one?
Yeah, I think I'm probably more of a doer. I just execute. I think even when I was going for the City Spark process, I think even a few of your colleagues really were surprised, like, hey, this guy's been able to create something in like 12 months, or where I didn't get too bogged down with market research. I mean, to be fair, City Spark was the market research, but that's all I did. But
really, wow.
I was more like, right, I've got an idea, I'm really passionate because it solves a problem for me. I want to create it, and let's see what happens. So I'm very much so of the doer, and then if things break or go wrong along the way, then I try to fix them. But for me, I'm very much like that, and only now I'm starting to become more of a thinker, where strategy plays an important part. Now we've grown the business, now we can actually think about, right, what is the strategy to do things? So I'm learning that now in my role, but in the early days, it's been about just doing it and not thinking too much. I'd say don't think too much in the beginning, like just
okay. We're already starting with some insights. Don't overthink it, just do it. If it breaks, be ready to pivot in different direction until you start refining your product. Makes total sense. Last question from me, and I think this kind of sets the tone for your presentation. And again, I will urge the participants to use the Q&A button, the chat button. We will be answering questions towards the end, but any questions that you have, please use the Q&A button so we can, Druven can start answering them towards the end. So my last question, Druven, really is, so you went into entrepreneurship whilst studying. So what made you take the leap I know that this started off as a dissertation project, but what was like the clicking, the light bulb moment, if you like?
Yeah, I think I'll kind of touch upon it on my story. Actually, let me tell the story now. It's probably a good timing as you've asked it. But I think in my background, I was studying optometry at university, right? And on the weekends, I was working at Vision Express, trying to earn a few bob to support my studies, but also get industry experience. And at the time, there was a product innovation that came out where the lead optometrist, she gathered the team and said, hey, we've got this new product innovation for people that wear glasses. It's a coating called Blue Control. And if any patients had this on their spectacles, they'd be able to beat eye strain. And, you know, I immediately thought, is this the missing piece to the puzzle? Because my mother's always told me looking at screens is really bad for your eyes, but she never had a reason for it. So this is, at that point, I kind of went to university. I demanded I did a research project on this because I wanted to like, see, is this true? Like I was kind of like, okay, I kind of believe it, I don't. So I went away, 9 months of research. I found, yes, blue light from screens did cause eye strain and headaches, but it also suppressed melatonin, which makes it harder for us to sleep. So at that point, my mind was blown. I was like, whoa, this is massive. You know, screens are quite small. They're getting bigger and brighter. You know, this was 2013, 14, as you said, and I didn't wear glasses. So selfishly, I wanted the product for myself because I didn't wear glasses, right? So I said, how can I take this technology and put it directly onto the screen itself? So you know, that was the idea. And that same period, you know, I saw the City Spot posters and I was like, right, let me get going. And at that point is when I created a brand name, a few posters, and I pitched up and I was like, here's my idea. So that was the kind of
prototype, prototype, and the rest is history. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I leave in the good hands of Druven. Druven, I will see you on the other side. I'm going to mute myself and stop my video, and we will be fishing questions. I can see a few coming in already, so I'll see you on the other side, okay? Good luck with the presentation.
Just to confirm, I'm good. I'm going to be speaking for about 20 minutes, but obviously it might be longer as questions come through, but is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as I notice that you're coming to the end of your presentation, I'll then turn on my camera and I'll start helping you out filtering those questions, okay?
Awesome, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rui. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for, I guess, joining me on learning a little bit about my journey. But yeah, as Rui said, I'm Druven Patel. I'm the founder and optometrist here at Opti Shield. This 20-minute presentation is going to go through what the business is, and hopefully through it, I can give you some nuggets on how we, you know, why we do some of the things we do. And as you said, you know, if there's any questions, drop them down. And Rui, I don't know if you want to come in with those questions whenever you want, but I'm not monitoring them at the moment because I can't see them. So
no worries. We'll be doing it towards the end, so no worries.
Okay, awesome. Got you. As Rui said, yeah. So you know, how did we begin? I think you know, I started at City University as an optometrist, and I told you kind of just a moment ago where and how the idea came about. So you know, this kind of covers it, and some of the kind of metrics we have there as well. Rui covered. I think what's important to us is as a business, we are for profit, but we also do care about what we do, being health and well-being led, but also how we affect the people around us. So, you know, every year we have a corporate partnership with a charity. This year in the UK, it's Guide Dogs UK, helping the visually impaired to, you know, perform better and be able to do what they need to do. Same with a charity in the USA called Orbis. So that's quite important to us. But yeah, talking about the journey, you heard on the left where the business was born. It was born at City University and Casper Business School, probably where you're at now if you're watching this. So yeah, this journey probably applies to you quite a lot because you can see what journey I've been on from that point of studying to where we are now. So I think we've had various checkpoints throughout this process, and it's been a fantastic journey. But you know, now we're at a point where we sell products in 70 countries. We have a product range that consists of 6 different category of products. We sell to retailers, we sell to employers as well. So yeah, this is a nice little map there. So what do we do here at Opti Shield? So we believe your eyes are everything. So we believe when your eyes are healthy, you sleep better, you feel better, and you get more done. By taking care of your eyes, you take care of so much more, because your eyes are intertwined to your health, right? So that's what we really believe. And the quote at the bottom points that out quite well, is, blue light from digital devices is a hazard to our eyes and wider health, and that was from Harvard University. This allowed me to come up with a research which I was doing at university, which was identifying what the problem was. Now, the problem, before we get onto the solution and how we create the solution, was I found that artificial light had a component called blue light in it, and this blue light was harmful to our eyes, sleep, and skin. Too much exposure to blue light causes visual stress, which then leads to eye strain and fatigue and headaches. Using screens in the evening, the blue light suppresses melatonin, which makes it harder for sleep. And then also Unilever released a research study that was published last year, which said 30 hours of screen time causes an increase in skin inflammation because it reduces elasticity in the skin, therefore causing early aging. So lots of problems here caused by artificial light and blue light. So that's where we wanted to create the solution, sorry. So solution, what is it? So OcuShield, our hero products, the ones we started with and now developed, is the world's only medically registered products that effectively is screen protector, tempered glass screen protector that not only protects your device, but protects your eyes, sleep, and skin from blue light. A simple solution, you put it directly onto your screen and you reap the benefits. So this is the product that we made. When I started this process and when I was at City Spark, the way that we got the products ready and how I managed to work on this was actually I utilized the university's expertise, one from City Spark, but also my department from School of Health and Sciences. I tapped into the lecturers and faculty. I said, hey, I'm trying to create this technology. I don't quite understand how to create a specification, or what do I need to look for when I'm looking at, spectrometer readings, because I was dealing with light. So I might have had some inclination, but I really needed that support. So I was able to speak to, my faculty, and I had a gentleman called Steve Gruppetta, who was my optics lecturer, and he helped me through this. So that really helped. And when I was then going to speak to manufacturers and briefing them on what I wanted, I had a clear specification of what I wanted. If I did it myself, it would have been half-baked and it may not have been the ideal end result. But I think with the support of the university's faculty, that really helped. And that doesn't go to say if you don't have the perfect specification, don't launch. I mean, when I launched, it was an MVP. It was good as I could have got it to that time. And the way I did it was it took me about 24 months to get to a finished manufactured product. But since I had the idea from City Spark, I created a Wix.com website myself, and everyone I spoke to, I gave them the URL. And I think by then I had maybe 2,000 to 3,000 subscribers. And when I was ready to manufacture the goods, I didn't have too much capital, but I said, hey, you can pre-order the product. And what I had was about 1,000 people that pre-ordered the product, and it allowed me to have the capital to bootstrap the first 3 to 6 SKUs. And what my SKUs is 5 or 6 products. I think it was for 2 or 3 iPhones, 2 or 3 iPads. And I was able to launch the business in January 2015 while I was in my university dorm room. And I was, I had the products in my dorm when I was shipping to customers myself. And that's how kind of we started in the initial stage to create a solution. Obviously now, since time's gone on, I went full-time on the business in 2018 because in optometry, you have to qualify and then do a pre-registration year, and you're tied to my employer at the time, which is Specsavers. So I was doing it in evenings and lunches, but I went full-time in 2018. And since then, we've obviously reiterated the product. We've made the packaging recyclable. So these are all things that we've worked on to improve as we've gone along. We never stopped doing that. There's always product development and refinement when it comes to creating a physical or software product. This is a bit on the packaging, which I won't bore you with. In terms of product range, as I said, we started with a few SKUs. Now we have around 80 SKUs consisting amongst these 4 categories. I talked about research and development. Our products now contain antibacterial technology. Post the pandemic, we're all a little bit more aware of bacteria. And fun stat for you here is our screens are 7 times dirtier than a toilet seat. So actually, it's quite useful without even the pandemic. We also have our products for laptops and monitors. This product is combined with something known as a privacy filter, which means people can't see your screen from the side. This was actually created because we were selling to employers, and employers, due to GDPR, they'd say, we need to protect our financial information or whatever if someone's working in a hybrid environment. So they couldn't take that product off to put us on. So we had to go away and say, right, how can we put our technology into this privacy filter product. So we went away and created this product. This product also has the antibacterial coating as well and anti-glare, which is useful. We also then released a line of blue light blocking glasses. So kind of going back to when I first found out about, this kind of technology, it went 360. We started then creating our own glasses products. We don't do any prescription lenses, but we are now bringing those out. So in the next 3 months, we will start offering prescription lenses for consumers that have a refractive error in their eyes. And lastly, the most recent product is something called the Opti Lamp. It's our all day and all night lamp. Effectively, we want our consumers and community to learn about lighting. And our lamp has 3 different color temperatures and intensities, which allow them to toggle through the different options through a touchpad. You have a bright daylight setting for the mornings to help you get recharged and feel, like you're ready for the day. A warmer white light setting for the afternoon, so the light's not as harsh on your eyes. And then a warm white light in the evening, so people can fall asleep better. So this is our product range, and this kind of, again, it started from inception of just having an idea of creating a simple product. But as we've built the business, we've built an ecosystem of products, because when you have one customer, you want to start thinking about what else can I give them that can benefit them in their lives. And, the glasses were useful because people might want blue light protection against TVs, or the lighting might be harsh in the environment, and therefore creating the Opti Lamp. So that's also really important. But I wouldn't get too focused with creating multiple products in the beginning, because you want your hero product, which is going to bring you most of your revenue. So for us, 50% of our revenue comes from the tempered glass smartphone screen protector products, and then we add on and supplement everything else. This is a bit on the products itself. Again, I won't bore you with this because it's kind of product related. Now let's talk about customer demographics, because this is important, I think, and for yourselves as well is, I think the questions that are important is, what's the best way to research to the people that you're trying to sell your products to? For me, actually, when I was starting, City Spark was great because you're speaking to people in competitions, right? You're standing up, you're pitching to get their votes. So actually winning City Spark meant actually people get my idea, and then winning stage 2 with tech entrepreneurs. Oh, okay, they believe in what I'm trying to do. So that was my market research. Even though I didn't intend to do market research, that was there. And now looking back, I can see why that helped me in my journey. Because if I failed, I wouldn't have the momentum, right? If I didn't win City Spark, I would have thought, okay, well, people don't really care. But the fact that I did really helped. And if anyone is thinking about entering City Spark, there is a little bit of a hack. I mean, it probably isn't a hack, but I had a lecture right before City Spark, the first stage, and I told everyone in my cohort, I think 150 people, to like literally get to the place and vote for me. And I think like 100 of them came and voted. So maybe I skewed the results there, but the people that I was speaking to when I was pitching, actually not my peers, but other people, I was definitely engaging, and they were grasping the concept of what I was trying to create. So that was my market research. And I'd say that is quite important, getting a few opinions, but don't get too bogged down with it. I think, again, from my perspective, is just getting it done. Putting something out there is your best way of getting feedback. And if you do have an idea, don't worry, people aren't going to steal it, because actually executing something, creating something is so hard to do anyway. So I'd always err on the side of not of caution, but getting your idea out there, speak to people, and develop it from that perspective. And when you have an idea of where your customer might be, so for us, we sell products that apply, go onto phone screens, right? Every type of customer from a different walk of life, different country, different profession, different gender, uses a screen. So we have to be really careful, where do we put our energy and time? And this is really important also for you if you're thinking about starting a business, is where am I going to target my my efforts? And in the beginning, you probably don't have you probably don't have a conclusive proof that a certain demographic is one that you're going to sell to. So you need to go on gut feel, you need to go. So for me, when I was creating these products, selfishly for myself, I looked at, what do I like doing? What do I care about? I was like, right, I care about, self-development, nutrition, gym, looking after myself. So maybe my customers might reside there, which which helped, which allowed me to market the products there. And what we found now is actually that still applies. So through all our customer demographics you see here, parents and young professionals, those people all care about their health and well-being and their nutrition and gym, so that's the target demographic that we appeal to. So what I'd say is then you want to take it to the next level. You want to be, you want to be where they hang out. Where do these customers live and breathe? What Reddit forum are they on, or where do they meet up? The closer you can get to them, the better you can also create new products or solutions for them, or make your product or solution better. But yeah, our ideal customer right now is a parent between 20 to 40 years old, 1 or 2 children. They're caring about their eyes and their children's eyes. They're a young professional spending 8 hours or more on a day on a screen, and they care about nutrition and fitness. So yeah, just to reiterate, with so many people we can target, it's very important you hone in on a demographic and then build outwards to other demographics on there. This is a slide about us giving back, which I spoke about. Oh, by the way, if you don't know, you probably don't, but I didn't know, Orbis is a flying eye hospital, which is really cool. They go around and they have a massive jumbo jet where they have theaters and operating theaters on, where they fix people's eyes, and they also teach the new generation of ophthalmologists. So it's a great charity that you didn't know of. If you didn't know of Guide Dogs UK, I'm sure you'll kind of know what they do. In terms of our business as well, we developed, again, first from identifying our customers, health and well-being is really important, right? So actually, how can we target those people? And we said, all right, employee rewards. So you may know that some employers, obviously, well, yeah, a lot of them should, but some of them do look after their employees and want to make sure that they're looking after their health. So they provide rewards, which could be, a cinema ticket, or it could be a physical product. So we tapped into this, and we worked with providers like Perkbox, which is probably the cooler version at the moment, but they have like the Football Association, they have Barclays, they have other people on their books, but we partnered with them to say, hey, we can put our products on your platform, we'll give your users a 30% discount, but we get that brand awareness and sales channel to sell to that customer. But again, this is from learning about your customer. Dragon's Den, so that's me and Asad there, my commercial director. So Asad is actually, he joined me in 2018. He's a City University alumni. He's an optometrist. I actually met him because he was doing a talk at City University, and he became an optometrist, but he soon after fell in love with the mobile phone and started an O2 franchise business. So he owns 15 O2 businesses in London. So he owns the one on Tottenham Court Road and a few other prominent locations. But I met him, when he was talking about one of his businesses at, I think it was Simon within the City Spark team who actually told me, he said, hey, do you know this guy called Asad? He's an alumni, he's talking. And I said, no, I don't. And I was, on that day I was at the Launch Lab co-working space, and I managed to go down and listen to his talk. I spoke to him afterwards, and we met up 4 to 5 times. And he said, look, I really love what you're doing. It's about eyes, it's about mobile technology. I'm in that space, let's connect. So he came on as an investor and a commercial director. But again, this just shows the power of network within the university. I am a sole founder. I didn't feel I needed a co-founder. So I went by myself on that route. But I think it's really important that I did find Asad on this journey, because it's great to have a sounding board of someone that is a little bit more seasoned when it comes to business, that could help with my ideas and which decisions to make. So I think that's really important. If you are a sole founder, try to get a mentor where possible that you can bounce ideas off, which can play the same role. But you can see that, we formed a great team, and we went on to Dragon's Den. So Dragon's Den was funny, actually. How it happened was, it was the start of the pandemic. It was February, actually, 2020. And we got an email from one of the researchers. So there's a gent called Tom Ravenscourt. If you want to write that name down, you can search him up, and you can maybe outreach to him if you're ever interested in going on Dragon's Den. He emailed and said, hey, we've seen your business. We think you'd be suitable to come on to Dragon's Den. I asked him where he found us. He found us actually on a Virgin article. So again, press plays an important part about discoverability. And we took out that you might know of Virgin Startups. I applied for a loan. I didn't take the money out. I applied for £500 because I wanted the mentorship. I didn't even take the £500 in the end. I just took the mentorship. I got 2 mentors, which I speak to one to still this day. But again, mentorship's a very key part of this. But yeah, anyway, that's how he discovered us. And he said, hey, fill out this application form and we'll get back to you. Filled it out. I didn't hear anything back. The pandemic kicked off, obviously. So wasn't, I imagine that they weren't working. September came or August came and he got back in touch. He was like, hey, we've kicked off production again. We really like your story. Can you pitch to the producers? So we had to pitch to the producers. They loved it and they said, right, can you come into the studio September 28th and pitch to the Dragons? So I think this was 3 weeks before they told us, and we were like, shit, we're gonna be on TV pitching our business. So every other day, me and Asad were pitching to ourselves, our family members, team, anyone we can think of to get confident, because pitching in front of the Dragons, knowing that you're going to be on TV, and if you fluff up that your business and your credibility also affected, it can do weird things to your mind. So you have to be really confident when you're pitching. And yeah, that was our kind of process of getting the pitch right. And then yeah, we drove up to Manchester one morning to pitch in front of the Dragons. It was I was sweating. We were in there for 1 hour and a half. So actually on TV, you only see 13 minutes of this segment, but we were in there for 1 hour and a half. So it's a lot longer than you feel. But yeah, we got the result we wanted. We got Peter and Tej Lavani giving us offers. They were actually fighting over us in the den, which was really, really fun to watch. But yeah, if any of you have not seen it, do Google Dragons Den Hockey Shield. You should be able to find it. But yeah, that was an incredible experience. Now, after doing that, I feel I can pitch in front of anyone. But yeah, great experience. Also, I have been featured and endorsed by Sir Richard Branson. It probably wasn't him, being fair. He has a team and they manage his social content. But again, a nice story here is you never know where some connections can lead you. So actually, I kept in touch with the Virgin team, from the Virgin startup team. They introduced me to different people. I kind of sent them and said, hey, can you introduce me to your PR team or comms team? And actually, I think this was published last year, but one of their key content writers, I've reached out to and said, hey, I've just been on Dragon's Den. This is my story as an optometrist. And she wrote up a long blog post of my story on virgin.com. So actually the story is on virgin.com of what a founder looks like, which is affecting me in this case. But then what happened was Richard's team shared it on his LinkedIn and Twitter as well, which also created more of a kind of a buzz around what I was doing. And what I would say is we're also in Virgin megastores in the UAE. So we're in about 30 Virgin megastores. That's not down to Virgin or their partnership, that's something else. But again, when they heard about, Richard shouting us about us, they were kind of like, oh yes, we should pay Opti more attention. But yeah, it's really important to make sure you nurture any connections you have within this process, because it can pay dividends in this sense. What's been quite key to us in terms of growing as well initially has been press. To get the credibility that you need when you're creating something is mentions in publications. I will be honest, nowadays it's very hard to drive a lot of traffic unless you're on the front page of a publication. But what's important is to say you've been mentioned and you can send people to these articles, right? What I would say is for the first few years, I did a lot of outreach myself. And actually, I think four out of these 6 publications, I landed this press. So it's earned the media. I didn't use an agency or anything. What my technique was, I set up Google alerts for blue light and screen time. So if you're doing something around sustainability, you might do, sustainability or eco-friendly. And journalists are writing about this every day. And what I used to do is I contact them as soon as something came out, say, hey, I love your article. I'm an optometrist. I know about blue light. Is there anything I can help or add to your article? If not, is there anything you're doing in the future? And I just kind of bug them every now and again in a few months' time. And I'd land press and they'd be really interested. I'd send them product. That was my strategy, and it still works to this day. So I'd really recommend that approach when you're trying to get the word out there. Because one, it's free, it just uses your time and you build relationships. I won't go into the competitor analysis. Last thing, yeah, this is probably last. second before last slide. But you know, you're all probably tech savvy, and you're probably like, hey, Druven, why do we need Opti Shield? You know, the software on our devices. Effectively, software on our devices is great, but it turns your screen orange. What we find when it comes to a healthcare point of view, compliance is the most important thing. So if you have an innovation, but people don't use the product, it's redundant. So Opti Shield limits the blue light exposure without changing the colors on the screen. So you can scroll through Instagram or TikTok without changing the colors on your screen, or send an email, for example, without having the colors affected. So that's why customers come to us, is, you know, the clarity with the credibility of limiting the blue light exposure. And this is an important point as well, is always look at the trends of what, you know, the future outlook is for a certain industry or category. So when I started, if you look at this map, you can see kind of 2014 in the middle. You know, the interest over time to maybe now, you can see it was at 25% of its level. So as Opti Shield has, you know, solidified its position as a leader in the space, you know, because it's quite a niche category. When someone Googles blue light screen protector, you're going to find Opti Shield, because we've been in this for a while. So as the market grows, the business grows. So this is also something important, is look at some data, look at Google Trends, look at what is going to be really relevant and important for the next 5-10 years. Because if it's only going to be relevant for 1 year and then go away, there's no point spending time on it unless you can really make a lot of money in that sense in that year. Like, I know people made lots of money selling you know, gloves and healthcare equipment in the pandemic. That's a whole different story. But I think when we're trying to create something of value, making sure there's a mission, a purpose behind it. You know, ours is all about letting eyes thrive, and time it with something that's you know, going to be still here in the next 5 years or relevant. You know, for example, sustainability is a really good example. That's not going to go away, and it's going to keep getting heightened in the next 5 years. And it's one of the reasons why we're also B Corp pending. So we realize that it's important not only to us and the world, but also to consumers that, you know, buying from companies that really care about what they're doing. So that is Opti Shield in a nutshell. Yeah, happy to answer any questions. And Rui, if there's anything I've missed, let me know, because I just kind of went through that deck.
Druven, thank you so much. What an amazing story, and what an amazing way from, this was just a dissertation. These are the products. I didn't even knew that you had this new lamp that would alternate between colors. What's the definition for optometry? If they change the warmth of, is it Kelvin, I think?
Kelvin, yes. Kelvins is the color temperature. So you got, you know, 2000 Kelvins, warm white, to 5000, which is daylight.
And given how much time we've been spending in front of our computers, both at home and in the office during the pandemic, I think that this is a product that comes really handy in times like this. Druven, again, thank you so much. The questions that keep coming in. So I will probably start with one from Maris, from actually the team, and it's a very good question, given how much you've been expanding over the last few years. Some of us know you already. So the question that Maris is asking is, how do you decide what products to include when expanding the product range? I know that the pandemic played a little bit in this, but what makes you decide over one product? And you alluded to some of this with your Google Trends and Google Alerts, but what has the final say, or the first say, rather?
Yeah, I'll be honest. The way I approach product development is mainly based on my gut. And I, you know, working within the business, I think it goes back to the Henry Ford examples. If you ask people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses rather than cars, right? So sometimes, you know, for me, it's always like, actually, what do I think our customers are going to want? And that I guess is based on data of interacting with them through customer service, socials, kind of getting a bit of a awareness of the industry and always researching. So I say for me, it's been mainly based on gut, but then now it is definitely supplemented with market research data. You know, what categories are, so for example, we're looking at now, you know, becoming an eye care brand. We're looking at, you know, eye spray, which is effectively eye drop product, eye supplement, you why are we looking at these products? Well, actually, if we ask our customers, which we have, we said, hey, what products would you like to see? And not just see, I'd say, which ones would you buy from us, right? And we said 40% of them said, hey, eye drop or eye supplement. So for us, that's enough indication to say we should invest in this area. And then you have some things which are maybe not on their horizon, which, like the Opti Lamp product, it wasn't something that people knew or were asking for. It's something that, I had the idea from, and it's actually proven to be quite a strong product. We just started really marketing in November, but it's really picked up. So I think there's a balance of the two. And once you release products, you'll find what works. But if you can kind of de-risk it by doing pre-orders on products or doing a landing page and sending email or traffic there and finding what the conversion is, which we'll probably go to that in kind of this year. But I think when you're starting off, I think it's a combination of gut and getting a bit using the metrics that you have to get it out.
So gut plus primary and secondary research plus maybe take pre-orders and start testing the waters that way with a few prototypes out in the market and see what the reception is from your customers. Okay, it's very interesting. Me as someone that wears glasses and sunglasses and eye products, I can just imagine how wide the universe is for these kind of products, and you alluded to some of them already. Let me go through another question here. This is a question, this is more on taking the angle from competition. And you did mention something like don't fear, particularly when you are at such early stage, the competition, or maybe people stealing your business idea. But a bit of a twofold question. This is from Dimitro. So how do you deal with competition? And at the same time, how difficult it was for you to solve problems, being a sole founder, problems with legal licenses and allowances and anything that is healthcare regulated, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I'll answer the latter one first. I guess naively, I probably took the route of asking for forgiveness rather than permission. I think if you ask many people now in the medical industry, if you're an optometrist, all of my peers are very risk averse. They're like, I can't believe you are stepping into a ring of something which was, at the time inconclusive. They're like, wow, you might get struck off by the General Medical or Optical Council. And for me, I didn't really have that. I wasn't really scared of that. So I go in and just kind of execute. And what I would say is, when you're a small entity, there is really no one on your back that's going to be having you down. Again, I said, it's very much ask for forgiveness rather than permission. And it's better to. Well, the worst thing that's going to happen is you get slapped in the wrist and say, right, you need to fix this, which you can do. Once you get to a scale, you can fix any regulatory issue that you have, and then move past it. I think when you're definitely starting, I'm talking about early stages, before getting to your 100,000 year or 20,000 monthly recurring revenue. Just don't be afraid to execute and get around some of those legals and agreements can just take up your time. I've been in legal negotiations with some contracts with partners where it takes 6 months to execute, and then when we start, they actually bring zero business. So you spent 6 months wasting your time on a commercial agreement or something, and it's just not paid off. So I think you've got to approach that how I've approached it in that way. Don't get too bogged down by it.
So early stage, do take risks, right?
Yeah, you've got to.
You can afford. It makes sense. And in terms of dealing with competition, direct or indirect competition, how have you been able, or what would be your advice for a young entrepreneur in our audience? What would be your advice?
It's all about creating a competitive edge. You can now see this market has matured somewhat. So you'll see now lots of knockoff products or cheap products on Amazon or whatever, across our whole category, which is fine. But the way we create our competitive edge is, we look at why our customers gonna want to come to us, and it's all about building trust. We're at a premium priced part of the category. We're not an impulse purchase. It's £25 for screen protector is pricey. So how do we build value? So we've said actually we're healthcare orientated, so we're developed by optometrists, but we're also registered with the regulatory bodies. You know, the MHRA in the UK is the one that licenses drugs, medical devices, the one that approved the COVID vaccine, right? So we're registered with them, and we just got registration in FDA as well in the USA. So if you're looking for equivalent products, you're not going to find products that usually have those kinds of accreditations. And we've also built up an expert network of clinicians that say, hey, OcuShield's the go-to brand. So it's all about building credibility. And as we've gone on, you know, Dragon's Den, it's credibility. You know, you're on TV, you're putting your face out there. You're not someone that's creating a brand in stealth mode. Because people now do want, you know, when you're starting something early stage, they want to see who is creating that brand or product. You know, there'll be a stage, I think, in the OcuShield business as well, maybe in 1 or 2 years' time, where we will dial down the personal brand side of things, because then you get to a point where people want to be dealing with a bigger business. But you've got to, I think in the early years, use it to your advantage. And some of the biggest businesses now still use personal branding or the founders as a competitive advantage, because the big guys can't use that because they don't have one individual or two individuals. So use your face, you know, get out there.
Yeah, and the journey behind it. You have an amazing story to tell, not just the brand, but also an amazing story at the back of your brand to tell. Monique is actually alluding now to something that was going to be my question to you. So given how much some of these devices, and we can be talking about smartphone here, an iPad, or maybe even laptop or computer screen, how much these devices upgrade and change, how do you decide which ones to make the screen size for? Because sometimes, well, I would imagine that you would get to a point that, okay, this, I don't know, the iPhone 7 has to go to make room for the iPhone 12, because there's no way that it can be catering for all that. So how do you go around this, or what is the decision or the rationale behind some of these decisions?
Yeah, first of all, when it came to screen protection, we started working with a manufacturer who was in the screen protection business. So actually, for us to then create a new mold and go to a different device was easier than if you're going to someone that was just cutting out material. But secondly, in terms of sales, we quickly realized that Apple customers had a higher average order value. They'd buy something for their iPad, their MacBook, and their iPhone. So we said, let's dive deeper into that. We've got 2 Samsung lines. We're actually discontinuing them because we just feel that the Samsung or Android customer doesn't spend as much as an Apple customer, right?
Okay.
The data, you know, we say which of our SKUs are performing as best as possible in terms of sales, and you get to September when there's a new iPhone release, and then, you know, we still do the iPhone 5 at the moment, but I think when the iPhone 14 or whatever comes out in September, we will discontinue the iPhone 5, right? So there'll be a natural cycle of getting rid of some products. So yeah, we base it on data.
Okay.
For us as well, we have before the new products launch, we have products ready for our customers as well, which is quite important as well.
So I'm going to pivot the conversation in slightly 2 different directions. The first direction will be marketing, and Druven, I follow some of your updates on LinkedIn, and I'm always excited every time I see something new and different, and visually is exciting, and it does feel like you are getting that, as you said, niche products. You spend a little bit more, and like you said, £25 for a screen protector is upmarket, but at least you know where your money is going. So what have been the main ways for you to promote or to go about your marketing strategy, and how much funds or what percentage goes or is spent in marketing itself? Because I also noticed that recently you have a new chapter in the US and coordinating that, and I'm assuming that although people tend to be the same and use the same products, the marketing strategy would be different across the Atlantic. So how much of yourself and the resources that you have you put into marketing, and how you go about it?
Yeah, really good question. I think there's different stages of. Do you want me to answer it in 2 stages? One what I do starting up, and one what we're doing now.
Please.
So yeah, I think when you're starting up, I think you have 2 strategies. You have a long-term strategy and then a short-term strategy. So for OcuShield, the long-term strategy was ranking on Google via SEO. You know, you build the foundation, you put your SEO architecture there, you learn as much as you can about it via YouTube tutorials, Google tutorials, all the information is there, and you set up your website. So then in 3 to 12 months time, you start ranking for keywords around your business, right? So that's your long-term strategy. Short term, what I do now, it still applies. The lowest hanging fruit was Google pay-per-click. You have people there that have a warm intent to buy product. So, for us, you're targeting them because they're already halfway there. Then you just got to convince them with your website and a compelling imagery and copy, etc. Right? So Google PPC advertising is the lowest hanging fruit that you can do in any business, for a physical product business or software. If people are searching for it, right? If people aren't searching for it, then you're gonna have to find another means. The second aspect, what I'd say, is cold audience, customer acquisition is Facebook marketing. Facebook marketing is scalable, and the best way for it to work is actually how Facebook advertising works is it matches an audience up compared to an email that you already have. So if you're building out emails, that email has data. Let's say you have Rui's email address, right? It says Rui's a trendy guy. He loves his art. He loves his arts. He likes to go to coffee shops or whatever. Builds a picture, right? And then Facebook says you can choose this, right? Facebook, you can see target the 1% that look like Rui, target 5% that look like Rui. So the higher you got, the less they're like Rui. The 1% that are like Rui, they're really close to how Rui looks. So by building emails, you can feed more data into Facebook to make that marketing more effective. So Facebook advertising goes hand in hand with growing an email subscription list. So actually, if you're speaking to people at your business, do what I did, get their email, get them into a subscription of, you're sending out regular communication, but that feeds into the Facebook strategy. So even though you're all going to be working on creating that awesome brand or awesome product, it's going to take you 12, 24 months, 3 years, it will take a long time, but in that period, you'll find customers that look like your audience. So I'd say that's probably the lowest hanging fruit when you're starting off in terms of marketing. And
okay.
When we're coming to now, I'd say it's quite interesting. So in terms of, I call those channels performance marketing, the Facebooks, the Googles. We still do those. Those are our primary, customer acquisitions. We just scale them up. But what's more important now is our retention. So email marketing is really key. So we have a strategy around content marketing. So content marketing and partnerships is what pays off at the moment. And what we try to do now is we work to a 30 to 35% of revenue to marketing spend. So that means for every £10 of money we bring in, we're spending £3 or £3.50 on marketing, right? Okay. So we like to remain as a profitable business. We've always started to, we're not like a VC-backed unicorn business trying to burn cash to acquire customers for, but that's a different business model. And there's a time and place for that. So that works for different elements. But for us, we try to create a tight ship. So that's how much we kind of spend on marketing is 30 to 40%, dependent on a given time.
Okay. Druven, you have to send me that report you have on Rui, because some of the answers were pretty accurate, and I'm slightly worried about the things you know about me. But more on that later. Druven, I'm going to take another pivot here, and this time is more about investments. Although we've been already alluding that there's completely different ways to go about investments. What advice would you give on drawing from your own experience about the best way to find investment or maybe investors?
I say it's all to do with network. So Assad came again, it was through network. We just raised £900,000 actually just in December. So it was my first fundraise. I've never fundraised before. Assad I wasn't even looking for funding then. It was more of a this was a little bit more strategized. So we actually said no to the Dragons after the Den experience. So they're not shareholders in the business. And the reason why we said no was the terms were really onerous. So they had the power to get rid of management if they wanted to, because they were public figures, which we felt was not minority shareholders. So anyway, it led us onto a nice journey of what do we do now. So we went to fundraise and we raised 900K at a 6 million pre-money valuation. How did we get up to the 6 million? Like, why did we get to the 6 million figure? We did 2 million in revenue last financial year, and we said we did simply a 3x multiple of the revenue. And that's how we set the valuation. There's multiple ways to do it, but right now the industry is actually pretty hot in terms of getting funding. There's lots of money out there, and it's quite reasonable in this day and age to go at that valuation. But what I did how did I get that 900K? I used LinkedIn. I found a software which allows me to automate my time, and I typed in angel investors on Sales Navigator, and it pulled up thousands of angel investors in the UK. And I ran an operation for 3 to 4 months where I was reaching out to them, pitching to them, and I secured probably 300 to 400,000 from angel investors through that route, and then the rest of it came through our lead investor, who I connected with again through a LinkedIn message to someone else who introduced me to them. So yeah, fundraising is all about your network. There is no silver bullet. It's all about leveraging your network.
Okay. The power of network. This is a nice follow-up, and this is actually a question for Thomas. So how much value, and this is, I think, if I get the question right, this is the point is about smart money versus dumb money or dumb investment. So how much value did you place on having Dragon's Den expertise / network over the money they were just sitting on the table they were willing to put into the business? So how did you, I think that the question is more, how did you prepare or how would one prepare himself to say, okay, I'm after smart money, or I'm just after the money that is on the table, let me just walk away with it? So what would be your advice on this? Because frankly, being on Dragon's Den is an amazing experience in terms of exposure. But on the other hand, if you're saying that because they're public figures, they can decide who stays and goes in the business, a bit like you said, Druven, it doesn't seem too fair. So how does one prepare for this?
Yeah, I think when you're starting off is never be precious about your equity. I think it's all about value add. Who can spend the most time with you on something, and who can bring the most business or expertise. I think, don't be too precious in the beginning. When you have product market fit, and when you have a business that's, as I said, either doing 20,000 recurring revenue monthly, or you're doing £100,000 in revenue a month, then you want to start looking at actually the capital that you bring in. You don't need to have too much value, because by then you'll know where you want to spend the money. You'll have a good idea of what to work in. I just need more money, working capital to push in a certain direction. So it becomes less important. But even with the 900K we just raised, we found value-add investors, right? We found investors who are athletes, Team GB cyclists, Crystal Palace footballers, James MacArthur, who's ex-president of Balenciaga retail, so we found value in that as well, right? But end of the day, investors are not going to do your job for you. They'll jump on a call with you once in a while or do one introduction, but they're not going to change your bit. It's all about you. Unless you're going for a strategic investor who's going to take half your business and wants to run it with you, that's different. So with the Dragons, we really also felt from the time we spent with them that they didn't have the capacity to help. So on TV, they talk a good game. And from a viewer perspective, you're sold a dream. I was definitely, as a viewer myself, watching it for many years. But in reality, they, having a small percentage of a company, which they have hundreds maybe of, they're not gonna have the ability to make a huge impact. So you just got to think about that. How is someone with so little time going to be able to help?
Okay. Now time to wrap up the sessions, and a question from Rita, and this is a very good question. What are you most proud in your journey so far, Druven?
For me, it's getting customer reviews. I think when I see a review come in and it's like, wow, now I look at screens, I don't get migraines, I can, work well, and my boss isn't shouting at me for not be doing my work, things like that, and seeing people sleep better. I think that's what I'm really proud of, out of everything. And then when I get a negative review, I'm equally as upset, and it really pains me. But I'd say that's probably what I'm most proud of.
Okay, okay, that's a fantastic motivator, I would say. Finally, Druven, and with this we will be wrapping our session today. So, what pieces of advice do you have for any inspired entrepreneurs sitting out there, and how should they get it started? I know that you mentioned City Spark, which I'm hoping that some of them would be applying to, but
Yeah, I
maybe one or two nuggets.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, if you're excited about an idea or project or a business, fly with it. I think, even, don't be afraid to even launch it and you go to City Spark and it doesn't do well. Like, that's great. It saved you years of working on something that may not have come to fruition, because you want to think about trying to hit a home run, right? You might have something really good and you didn't work well on the day on City Spark and you can keep persevering. That's a different story. But generally, if the market, whatever you're doing is telling you it's not the right thing, then don't spend time on it. So actually failing fast, you probably heard before, is great in whatever you do. But there's also a great saying that says, don't underestimate what you can do in 10 years. And, because most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, right? So play the long game with what you're trying to do. Yeah, just get started, get out there, is what I'd say.
As the Nike motto would go, just do it, or just start somewhere.
Exactly.
Druven.
Full night, when he did night, that's all he did. He just kept executing.
Druven, this leaves me to say thank you very much for sharing your journey with us. To our attendees, if you want to replay this seminar, it will be made available towards the end of this week at www.cityventures.co.uk. I hope that you join us next week for yet another amazing startup seminar with Rashina Shah from Insane Grains. And this leaves me to say thank you very much again, Druven, for your amazing story. More so because you've been at City Spark, because you've been part of the journey, because you are close to our entrepreneurial art. And to everyone out there, I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, everyone, and speak to you soon.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Druven. See you later. Bye-bye.